And I think this is one of the beautiful things about Shedeur Sanders. You can't tell me that this will not motivate this dude. You can't. And now, in a world where we're all exhausted with the term narrative, the narrative shifts now. He's the underdog. And he is.
Yeah, you just no. You're so right. And either before the break or after, I want to play what you said. We'll
play it in a second.
And what he said last night. This is a kid who's already been extremely successful. Already overcome a lot of haters. There were a lot of haters when he was at Jackson State that were like, oh, he can't play big-time football, and he just continues to show you he can. Now you've given him a chip. That's dangerous. Like we saw what that did for Aaron Rodgers. It made him a beast, right? We saw what that did for Tom Brady. Like Tom Brady carried that chip his whole career. Michael Jordan went number 3 overall and carried a chip his whole career.
Yeah.
You're giving a really talented, intelligent athlete extra juice.
And it goes back. I can only bring it back to myself because really that's the only story I'm a complete expert on. And like when I was counted out, like before I got sober and even after I got sober, people were like, dude, you're never going to like, what do you want to call games for like nationally? Or, you want to work at like, you're toast. Like I remember people being like, you're a good dude, but you're a total screw up. And like that tape still plays in my head. Right, wrong, or indifferent, it does. And it motivates me. I can say there's an unhealthy part of me that's always trying to prove myself, which is, again, that's probably not the healthiest thing in the world, but the fire continues to burn. Like I'm going to prove people wrong. And that has kept me going, it just has. So I'm really excited for Shedeur. I think today will bring a lot. I do want to play Scotty said we have to play this. I'm not a guy that says I told you so. I don't like saying I told you so. And by no means is this video me saying I told anybody anything.
But he did.
But in January, I felt like there was so much hype around Shedeur, and it was like, where's he going to go in the top 5? I mean, that's what was happening. And we just, in the middle of a show, and Rogue Media does such a great job taking these clips and, turning them into shorts or videos. You can see them all on my channel. Scotty did a great job yesterday with some of the videos after we talked to Paul B. and Cardi. So I just had a feeling that Deion or Shedeur was going to fall because this was finally something that was out of the control of Deion and Shedeur, and even if you want to lump Travis Hunter in there, they had done such a magnificent job when they, parachute onto the field and they kicked ass at Jackson State, at Colorado. But now the bat's taken out of their hands when it comes to the draft process, and I knew that, and I think everybody else did too. I'm not like some wildly brilliant insider, but look, this is what I said. January. Shedeur Sanders is his draft grade or his outlook is going to start to drop, and people are so excited about he should be the number 1 overall pick. I think that a lot of the stuff that makes Colorado so exciting, movement and the push from all of us, like whether it's fans or whether it's social media or whether it's the Deion stuff, and ultimately it did result in winning games this year for Colorado. However, this process is ugly for a lot of these quarterbacks, and it's uncomfortable, and it's really unfortunate the way that they poke and prod and find so many things wrong with these quarterbacks, and really they operate in a silo, right? These GMs, these scouts, these coaches, all the people that will have a say in Shedeur Sanders and his career going forward. By the way, that's basketball season, Pete. That's rough. He looked rough.
No, you look good. Hey,
but hey, that's like 3 hours of sleep.
I'll say it for you as the producer, because you don't want to say "told you so." You did. You called it.
Well, I mean,
nailed it. I mean, and it's not that it's necessarily difficult to predict. All these quarterbacks go through this, but I would not have predicted in January this kind of a fall.
Well, it's just there's so much. There's also too, and this. We've all been around so long. The season ends. And then we have this period where, and guys have been talking about it now, and I know this because, I used to do this with McShay, like the real scouting kind of starts after the season.
Right.
And with the scouting comes all kinds of BS. And whether it's up or down, a lot of it's not real, like that anonymous quote. And I want to, that was my kind of thought process earlier, but we talk about narratives and reactions. I love what Joel Klatt had to say, another sober guy, by the way. The Payoff with Pete, new episode just came up. So if you're looking to learn a little bit about sobriety, check that out. The Payoff with Pete, Stories of Sobriety, came up today. But Joel Klatt talked about the fact that this whole process was garbage, the way that Deion was handicapped by members of the media, and even this anonymous quote guy who we talked about was just total weak sauce. Let's run the Joel Klatt.
Yeah, and he won't shy away from the spotlight, and you can take that one of two ways. You can take that as a negative, you can take it as a positive. Shedeur represents everything that I dislike about the NFL draft, and it's only one thing, and it's narratives, built up that are lazy and, quite frankly, trash. When you come out as an anonymous source about some meeting that you had, and you don't think that some kid measured up to what you wanted him to be when he walked in your room, I think that that's trash. Shedeur Sanders is going to be a good quarterback in the National Football League. And I think that he's going to go and make some head coach and some fan base very happy because he's already done that in his career. And what I think is a very difficult spotlight for his dad at the University of Colorado in a program that was nothing before he got there for 2 decades. So those are the things that I'm looking at, is the things that you can't measure. And everyone wants to have an opinion about this guy. And listen, I get it, right? Yeah, he holds the ball too long and he drifts and all of those things. But I tell you what, this narrative that built up about Shedeur over this process, that's what I dislike about this draft.
So what do you dislike about this draft? I couldn't pick up what you just
narratives.
Put down.
This process, narratives.
No, I mean you couldn't
anonymous
have been...
or put your name on it. If you're going to say that, put your name on it. Like grab a microphone and put your name on it.
Look, I said the same exact thing. Not that Joel Klatt has a much more important voice than I do in the world of college football and coming up around draft time, right? Especially a guy like Shedeur. Joel Klatt went to Colorado, has been very, very close to that whole process. He calls a ton of Colorado games, or did, working for Fox. And that's not him being a homer. That's just him being real. Like, that anonymous coach, that quote is just such weak sauce. And, that really bothered me. And I don't think, I think these coaches know better. I don't think it had anything to do with where he went in the draft, but it just sucks, Yeah,
totally. And what I like about what Klatt said is this is the problem with the draft process. Not necessarily, this isn't just a Shedeur isolated event. This happens to guys every year.
Yeah.
There's guys who plummet and guys who climb based on not tape, right? Like we all, he included, acknowledge Shedeur's tape ain't perfect. Like he's got holes in his game, but it's not like when the guys get a DWI or get arrested for something and so they drop a little bit because there's real concerns off the field. It's like personality crap.
Yeah.
Like Shedeur might be a little entitled. You might be too if you grew up Deion Sanders' kid. Like, come on. Like,
dude, totally. We're splitting hairs.
But like, who is he on the football field? Who is he on the football field?
Yeah.
Who is he in the locker room?
Dude,
apparently a great player, a great leader. Like,
we do that inside the show, inside the 12 show every week, right? For the Big 12. It's broadcast in Big 12 markets all across the country. I ended up hosting it with Madison Hawk. And by the way, we're coming back next year, I heard. Don't tell anybody. But it's I never heard one thing. And we did a lot of digging and research, and we talked to the schools and we talked to the coaches, out calling games for ESPN. Like, you just don't hear anything negative about him. You don't. I mean, I'm sorry, you don't. And in a process like this, where they're going to go looking under every rock and bring a light and a shovel into every room they're going into to try to figure out what this guy's all about, there wasn't anything. At the end of the day, 32 teams passed on taking him in the first round. That's it. I mean, it's not, I don't believe it's anything bigger than that, but the court of public opinion can be thrown out.